Nottingham Forest are out of the Mickey Mouse Cup at the semi-final stage. But the question is, what are the 5 things we learnt from yesterday? But there is a more important question to answer, and that's about Erik Ten Hag. Welcome to Forest Fan TV. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you're watching this. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And welcome to your match analysis for Manchester United 2, Nottingham Forest 0. If anything, yesterday proves why I call them Manchester United as the disgusting scenes and the lack of the use of VAR to protect them was on full display. But coming up in today's video, we're going to be talking about that. We'll be talking about the 5 things we learnt, and we'll be talking about the thing that's been bugging me so much about Erik Ten Hag, and the penny finally dropped for me, and I'm going to share that with you. Don't forget, if you would be kind enough to hit that like button, it's completely free to do, as is subscribing to the channel. And let's get into this. But we got to start with this Erik Ten Hag thing, man. Okay, so I was watching the post-match interviews as Erik Ten Hag came on, and bloody hell, what was Roy Keane doing? But anyway, that's a whole other story. And I was just sitting there and I'm looking at it thinking, this bold bastard, there's something about him that's just bugging me. And it clicked. The light bulb went on. And I got to show you guys this. So this is him talking. I'll give you a quick snippet of it now.
I don't think frustrated, but you know, you played, I think, many such games. You also have to be a little bit smart.
And then here's the light bulb moment for me. And once you hear this, I'll warn you now, you can't unhear it. But here comes the light bulb moment.
Ruh-roh.
I'm sorry, but tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I am wrong. Manchester United are currently managed by Scooby freaking Doo. And it just... oh, you've got to feel sorry for them. You really do. Let me know your thoughts on that one down in the comments below. Am I being childish or am I spot on the money? Anyway, speaking of childish is the way Manchester United operate. Dennis was stamped on by that little poxy ballerina that is Anthony. And it wasn't even sent to VAR. It was the most blatant stamping offense you will ever see. And how that doesn't happen, well, we know. Manchester United and Old Trafford. It's just pathetic. It's almost comical. And then, of course, you had the whole Girl Nacho incident with Brennan Johnson, where the ref was actually the one who questioned it. And VAR turned around and said, nah, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. It's just pathetic. But that's Manchester United for you. Look, we don't care about them. They're going to get smashed in the Mickey Mouse final to Newcastle anyway. So they're going to end up with no trophies yet again for the 100th year in a row. Let's get on and talk about Forest. And let's talk about the first thing we learned from yesterday's match. Thing we learned, number 1 from the match, was mistakes. Mistakes at the Premier League level. I know this is the cup, but we were playing apparently a Premier League team. Are what is costing Forest time and time again. And they are usually defensive lapse mistakes. We saw yesterday Bolly, who I thought had a cracking first half, really big, really strong in the challenges and in position of the ball, makes one mistake. And that mistake where he slips lets in Manchester United and they're able to score from it. Games are happening in moments at this time, especially away from home. And Forest keeps slipping up and making the odd mistake here and there, and it ends up being costly. This isn't how it was last year in the Championship. You could get away with 2, 3, maybe even sometimes 4 mistakes, and, you know, they wouldn't concede a goal. But now in the Premier League, these mistakes need to be cut out. The focus needs to be from 0 to 90 minutes so that no mistakes are happening. And you're asking for perfection in defense. I get it. It's a big ask. But you can clearly see anytime a mistake happens, it is going to cost us. We've seen plenty of mistakes already this season that have cost us goal. I take it back to the first one that comes to mind is McKenna's mistake against Boringmouth at the City Ground. There's plenty of others. I'm sure you guys will chuck a few in the comments down below. But this has to be cut out. And this is an issue of concentration. Look, anyone can slip at any time. I give you that. But the predominant message I'm saying here is for us to improve. And there has been a lot of improvement. We have to make sure that there are no mistakes from 0 to 90 or no critical mistakes that will let opponents in. So for me, the thing we learned yesterday is there are still mistakes that are happening, and these mistakes are costing us severely. The second thing we learned is our away form is still in question, heavily, I would say, because we've only scored 3 goals away from home. We scored 1 against Everton, 1 against Bournemouth, and 1 against, who was it, Southampton, where we got the win. It's not good enough. We cannot just rely on our form at the City Ground. We have to take some of that form away from home and be a bit adventurous. I feel we were probably a bit too deep. I really did like the shape of the team yesterday in the 4-2-3-1. But we have to show a little adventure. Now, I kind of get the tactics from yesterday. It was hold tight, hold firm, see out the first half, shut up the Manchester United plastic fans. I mean, that wasn't really hard to do in itself. And then see what happens in the second half, become more expansive. But I don't feel we showed enough desire to show like we were interested in getting into the final. A lot of people are saying free swing and what have you. I'm probably on board with that one for yesterday's match. But talking and looking forward to our away fixtures, we really will need to show some desire and aggression going forward and not play the style of football where let's hold out till 0-0 and maybe we can nick 1 goal on a counter-attack. I think we're better than that. I think we got players that are better than that. And I would like to see some of that mentality from what we see at the City Ground transferred into away fixtures. Sky, as always, love putting stats that are derogatory to Forest up on the screen. And that stat was quite damning, that Forest are the lowest scoring team in the whole country, in the top 4 divisions for goals scored away from home. And this really does need to be addressed. You don't win games without scoring goals. That is the point on it. What are your thoughts about it? Let me know down below. Point number 3 is about Emmanuel Dennis, and I have defended him this season. And I understand the criticism he's getting, and I've seen it. I know what you guys are criticizing, but there is a player in him. This is a player who refused to leave in January because he's determined to prove his critics wrong at Nottingham Forest. So why not give him a chance? Why not let him show what he can actually do with a run of games, 2 or 3 games, something like that. Let him get a little bit of rhythm. Look, I'm going to say this is probably controversial, but if Dennis was Nottingham born, bred and raised, I think the patience level would be very, very different with him. He hasn't had a run at all this season in his right position, which for me is out wide on the left. He started against Villa, where he played up front and scored a good goal. But overall, it's been fits and starts and substitutes appearances, apart from, I think it was the Brentford match, where he did start. And I thought he looked quite good. In fact, Cooper himself, after that Brentford match, said that the front 3, which included Dennis, looked quite sharp and lively. So maybe it's time he gets a run in the team. With the amount of injuries we currently have, we should try and utilize him. You're going to have to live with his errors, his lack of passing, his mistakes, because he is a bit of a streaky player when it comes to what he'll perform. 1 minute you'll see him take on and destroy 3 players and put one into the top corner. The other minute you'll see him just run the ball out of play. It's the kind of player he is, and you've just got to understand that if you are against Dennis, of course. Now, I'm prepared to change my opinion on him, absolutely. I think it's a stupid person who's not willing to change an opinion. I've changed my opinion on a lot of things this season. So give him a chance. If he can't cut it after a run of 2 or 3 games, then fine. But I just put this question out there to all the Surridge fans who have said he's the best finisher in the club, this, that, and the other about him. He's had a few games in the bag now, and I've not seen much improvement from him. I mean, he was a great defender yesterday for the Dennis shot, but Why give Surridge that courtesy but not Dennis? Just food for thought. Let me know what you think. Point number 4 is about Freuler and his performance yesterday, which I thought was pretty solid, to be honest. He did a lot of work off the ball and was really imperative in front of that back four. I mean, you noticed a change in the scoreline and in the performance once he came off. It's something like, how can I best describe this? It's one of those things you don't notice till you've lost it. You know what I'm saying? If you've had yourself a nice car, you know, you got used to it, you got comfortable with it, it had all the mod cons in there, and then you've had to, for whatever reason, downgrade yourself to a crappy little old school banger. And that's where you notice where those mod cons were really comfortable and you did really need them. You know, it could be small things like automatic lights. You forget once you've got them in your car that you actually do have a switch to turn them on and off. And when you go into a car that doesn't have them, you run that battery out because you forget to switch it off. It's a bit like Freuler. He's that automatic light setting in your car where you like it, but you don't know you like it till you've lost it. For me, he's still playing in the wrong position. He needs to be slightly higher up the pitch. But overall, I thought he controlled the game yesterday really well. And I know he divides fan opinion, but he is a good player. Some of you find him very lazy. Some of you think he could do more. I think he still needs to be played in the correct position. But overall, I think he needs a rest. I think he's played a lot of games. I think he needs time out of the team. Not because I don't think he's good enough. I'm just putting into account the fact that he's been to a World Cup, went quite deep in there, got to the knockout stages, and he came back into Forest pretty much almost immediately chucked into the team. Let me know your thoughts on Freuler down below. And should he be taken out of the team? Should he be played higher up? Or do you just think he's crap and you don't want to see him in the team? All thoughts are welcome as always. And point number 5 is the fans. When you compare our fans to the Manchester United plastic fans, it is night and day. Simon from FFTV was at the game yesterday. All the Forest fans stayed behind, clapping and applauding Cooper and the boys as they came towards them. Manchester United, who bear in mind have won nothing for centuries now, it feels like, their fans had already left the stadium when they'd booked their trip to the Mickey Mouse final. That just shows you the contrast and the lack of cohesion that club has in comparison to Nottingham Forest. We may not be the best team on the pitch right now in the Premier League, but what there is, and it's clear to see, is a good solid unity between club and fan base. And I'm talking from the top all the way down to the bottom. I remember the days of Fawaz and the descent that was happening there. I'd be surprised if you can find a fan that doesn't love the Greek father, for example, the money he's put in, the vision he has for the club. And that cohesion is going to set us well for the rest of the season. Let me know your thoughts on all those points, whether or not you agree or disagree with them. I'm interested to know. Don't forget, tonight we've got the podcast backstage passes for you guys that are members. Come and join us. We'll be doing a town hall after where we'll be discussing with the members the channel, what you want to see out of it, and what more features and benefits we can bring to you. It was really, really useful to do that last week. As you saw, we did our new player rating system, which I think you guys have quite enjoyed. But give us your feedback as always on that. Thank you so much for watching. We'll have a transfer news update for you shortly, as there may be a new Forest player coming in. Don't forget to hit the like button before you leave if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Come on, you Reds.